Hi, everybody. So, my question for you is, are you doing too much as a leader, as a parent, as maybe a manager, a teacher? I'm going to teach you a concept that I learned 15 years ago when I was doing my doctoral studies. And I'm telling you, once I learned it, I realized the power that this principle actually has in every part of our life. Okay, so what I'm about to teach you, it's a relationship principle that you can apply both to your work life and actually your home life that will have enormous amount of benefit for you in terms of just your overall well-being and actually understanding, and also with what you can actually do a little bit differently. So for all of us visual learners, I want you to visualize a teeter-totter. So we all know how a teeter-totter works. As one side goes up, the other side actually comes down. So in every relationship between two people, you can apply this between a parent and a child, between a manager and an employee, between a teacher and a student, between a husband and a wife, between two different partners. So you're going to be able to apply this to every relationship between two people. So what often gets stuck is one person becomes an over-functioner and one becomes the under-functioner. It operates like a teeter-totter. So the more the one over-functions means the other one actually under-functions. So let me give you an example on how this actually impacts, let's say, a parent and child relationship. So with a lot of parents, what we find is that one person is actually over functioning. The parent is over functioning. They're doing too much. They're waking their kids up in the morning. They're reminding them to do their schoolwork. They're maybe telling them to do that science project. Maybe they're even going to finish the science project for them. They do way too much giving. It operates like a teeter-totter. So the more one side goes up means the other side actually comes down. So if a parent over functions, it creates this dynamic where often the child underfunctions. It creates all kinds of problems. So parents will get really frustrated. They'll say things like, look at all the things that I do for you. Can you not do A, B, C? And so the parents will get very frustrated. They'll often get very resentful. The child will be like, back off. You're like such a nag. So it creates a lot of conflict. It can create a lot of resentment. But it also, it really kind of keeps this child stuck from actually developing and growing forward. And so it actually, for a lot of times, we see that kids actually start becoming unmotivated. When parents do too much, it actually kind of creates this dynamic where a lot of kids actually do less. And so you can kind of see this dynamic, okay, this over-functioning, under-functioning principle. So you might be thinking, okay, Karen, this makes sense. Then how do you course correct it? So the way you actually change it is you actually have to do less. You got to do less. Okay, so in the example with the parent who's over functioning, you actually start pulling back. You actually start doing less. And by actually doing less, a lot of times it actually helps the kids actually step up and do a little bit more. And one of the things that's really important around this principle is that when parents actually, if they're actually doing too much, you'll often find that parents have anxiety. They have anxiety because they're like, oh my goodness, is my kid going to do ABC? And so by actually pulling back, it actually allows and gives space for the child to actually step up. So let me give you an example. Let's say one of the things is that you're overfunctioning is that you're doing all their laundry. Okay, I'm just giving you an example. So let's say you're overfunctioning, you're doing all their laundry. You're always telling them in terms of like, put your laundry in the hamper. You got to make sure you do that. You're always kind of doing giving. And the kid doesn't do it. Maybe it's like all on the floor or whatever. And so by pulling back, what you're doing is you need to set a clear boundary. You've got to be very clear about your expectation. And you just say to your kids, this is just an example, I'm happy to do the laundry. It has to be in the hamper by Monday by 6 o'clock. If it's in the hamper by 6 o'clock on Monday, I'm happy to do it. If it's not going to get done. And so what you then do is you pull back. You have clear boundaries. And then what happens is it actually inspires the child. Either what's going to happen is that they're not going to do it, so then they have dirty clothes, so they have to experience the consequence of their choice, or they're quickly running around and grabbing their clothes and putting them in the hamper by 6 o'clock. So by the parent being very clear, pulling back, having very clear boundaries, it allows the child to either, they're going to have to respond, and it inspires the child to actually step up. This is super important, both for families and for workplace, because we are seeing in the workforce a lot of managers saying that they're kind of getting stuck into overfunctioning, that they have to do too much coddling, they have to kind of do too many reminders. You don't want to do that. It's very important, both at work and home, that we are pulling back, we are teaching our expectations, be very clear about your expectations, giving room for others to kind of like lean in and actually step up. And what you're going to find is not only does it inspire responsibility, it also lowers stress. Okay, so you can apply this literally in every relationship between two people. You can apply it to your partner, to your team, to your child, to your classroom. All right, so you want to function less, giving space for the other person to kind of step up.